Thank you, Ron. Thank you, everybody. We're so happy to be here. We see so many faces that we know here. And anyway, thank you for coming. Thank you, Harvey. It's we've got an educational program that we've been doing. Harvey's been sponsoring us, and I mean that's what it takes, because we got a lot of hotshot people, you know, can go there with fancy scales and stuff like that. But when you get somebody, you know, I was telling them in the back, I celebrated the 30th anniversary of my 40th birthday recently, you know. You get somebody that's qualified as old, I think. But it's people like us that know the whole grind from way back, you know. And anyway, we try to give to those kids, you know, I try to give them my own 55 years of experience. Not all the experiences, unfortunately. But anyway, we're going to get to playing some music now. We're happy to be here. Thank you, Louis Armstrong. Thank you, God, for Louis Armstrong. Yeah. We're going to play some music.
Everybody ready?
Yes.
Yes, hello, Dolly. This is Federico, Dolly. I'm not Louis. There's only one Louis. Now you looking swell, Dolly. I can tell, Dolly. Now, Dolly, you still growing, and you're growing tall. I like them tall ones, yeah. One of my old favorite songs from way back when, Zots, good morning, Zots. God ain't cheap, fellas, or have a little faith in me, fellas. Yeah, Dolly, you'll never go away again. I got another one. Yes, hello, Dolly. This is Federico for the second time. I'm not Louis. Now you looking swell, Dolly. I can tell, Dolly. Now, Dolly, you still growing, and you're growing. I feel that room is swaying, and the band is back there swinging. Let's give him a hand back there, fellas. Work it out, Joseph. Oh, everybody, come on. Golly gee, fellas, or have a little faith. Work with me. I said, Dolly, you'll never go in. Let them play one. For the third time. It's so nice to have you back where you belongs. Watch this one. Now you looking swell, Dolly. Yeah, what a delightful smell, Dolly. Now, Dolly, you still growing, and you're growing, and you're growing real tall. Now, that's what I like. I like them tall like that. One of my old favorite songs from way back when. Let's go, fellas. Hey, everybody. Golly gee, fellas, work with me. Have a little faith in me, work with me. Dolly, never go away. Yeah, Dolly, never go away. Dolly, never go away. But, yeah.
Trombone player on the loose there. My God, Freddie, what was all of that, man? Not the long note. I mean, I've played with bands all over the world. I've never seen a conductor cut the band off. Boop! You know?
So you ain't probably been way out there.
I've not been where he's been, he says. He's right. You know, when we were kids, or young men, him and Mr. Moten back here, they had all the girls, you know. I was pretty sheltered growing up. Maureen, don't say a word. Susan, don't say it. Don't. Caroline's right there, okay? But there was a time when a girl called me up and she said, "Hey, Wendell, come on over. Nobody's home." Well, needless to say, I rushed over there. And no one was home. Yeah, anyway. We got my beautiful bride here on the clarinet. You want to play a song? You ready? She's had a bout with double pneumonia, this girl. And anyway, I'm glad she's here. And breathing relatively well. But with what you want to say something, baby? Yeah. Come on.
It is so good to be here and such an honor to be on stage with some of the greatest jazz musicians in the world. It's just so awesome. How's about a big hand for this wonderful band? I want to play a song named Spooky Takes a Holiday, and this was the favorite song of Caroline Brunious, and this was a couple from New Orleans who heard me play in Stockholm, just 14 years old. And they invited me to come to New Orleans, and little did they know it had been my dreams for several years, and I had Louis Armstrong and the French Quarters around my rooms on the wall, and I thought, one day I get to go to New Orleans and play. And my grandparents, Matt and Margaret, made this possible when I was 15, and they took me to New Orleans, and I got to play all over town. I was just walking on clouds. And before we play this song, I would like to reintroduce my amazing husband, who, except being my beautiful husband that I love with all of my heart, he also happens to be one of the greatest jazz trumpet players throughout history. How's about a big hand for the great Wendell Brunious? Here it comes, Spooky Takes a Holiday.
Wow. Not bad for a girl recovering from double pneumonia, huh? My goodness. I tell you, after she plays that, it's just so tough to get back to our original subject. But when Louis Armstrong is the subject, there's no end to things that could be said about this fantastic guy who put just, and especially to do it in the time that he did it, when it was even more difficult. But he didn't care about that. He was there for the music and for God. And, you know, he was born either 1900 or 1901. Yes.
It's all explained.
It's all explained in Richard's book here.
February 3rd.
February 3rd, you find the rest of the story, like Paul Harvey used to say. But, so that's always controversial. Was he born in 1900? Was he born in 1901? I said this one time, and someone almost bit my head off. It's, Louis Armstrong knew when his birthday was. Oh, my God, man. Were you there when he was born? Anyway, so when he was about 11 years old, it was a New Year's Eve. Everybody's popping fireworks. He takes it a bit further. He goes home, gets a gun. And boy, one of his nicknames was Dipper, you know. And all the boys singing all of this, February 3rd, you hear, read in his book. He sent me this book to read, and just 472 pages, is that right?
488.
488, excuse me. I didn't read the contents and I didn't read the index, so I'm not, but it's a wonderful fact, chock with facts about the greatest Louis Armstrong. And anyway, it's this New Year's Eve, everybody's popping fireworks. Louis goes home, gets a gun, bow, 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 shoots it up into the air. It was all fun and games. Man, everybody, Dipper, you, till the police showed up. You know, they have a way of putting a pin in the balloon, you know. And they arrested Louis Armstrong, brought him to the Millionaires Boys' Home, a home for bad boys. But out of that adversity came the greatest artist of all times, the great Louis Armstrong. At the boys' home, there was a great trumpet teacher by the name of Peter Davis. He took Louis Armstrong under his wing. You know who else was taught by Peter Davis? Dave Bartholomew.
Yes, he was, yeah.
Yep. And anyway, but...
I don't have a book on Dave Bartholomew.
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet.
But, so he started teaching Louis Armstrong, and when he got out of the boys' home, it's another controversial thing. February 3rd, you'll find the rest of the story. But he was adopted, or maybe he knew the Konofsky family before he went into the boys' home. Anyway, they were on Rampart Street, and he saw a cornet in the shop, and they bought that cornet for him. He paid them back 5 cents at a time. This is a different time of life. And he continued to practice and follow all the great trumpet players around from New Orleans, great Joseph King Oliver and Freddie Kepper and Buddy Petit, and all those guys. So in 1922, he was summoned by the great Joseph King Oliver to come to Chicago and play second trumpet to him. Well, when he got there, King Oliver had a beautiful young lady playing the piano. Soon she was Mrs. Louis Armstrong. She convinced Louis, you leave this man. You're better than King Oliver. You got to blah, blah, blah. Oh, my God. I've heard that somewhere before. Anyway, so he did. And he formed his own band he called the Hot Five. And they did a series of records that are still influential today, almost 100 years later. And one of the cuts he did was called West End Blues. Now, West End Blues was a song written by the great Joseph King Oliver, but to distinguish his version from King Oliver's version, he did this introduction, which I'm always nervous to play, especially when there are trumpet players in the audience, because We're all looking to see if you're going to hit that high note on the end there. But this is one of the greatest challenges on trumpet of all times, West End Blues. All right, West End Blues, thank you. Thank you so much. You know, Louis recorded, thousands and thousands of songs. It's just unbelievable that one person had that many songs. Anyway, he recorded this song. He recorded German songs, French songs, Spanish songs, Hawaiian songs. There are even cuts of him singing in Hawaiian. Is that right? Oh, yeah. You know, what the hell are you talking about, Louis? Anyway, but and some of those Hawaiian songs, he did such a beautiful job, like the Song of the Island and On a Little Bamboo Bridge and all those beautiful things. We don't have time to do the whole repertoire of Louis Armstrong. But this was originally a German song written by the great Kurt Weill, and his wife was Lottie Lanier. And at one point, Louis Armstrong and Lottie Lanier recorded this song together. It's called Mack the Knife. And she was an opera singer, soprano. And Louis Armstrong, you know what he sounded like. He sang in what key did he sing in? Gravel. He sang in gravel. Yes. So he was like, oh, the shock. And she's, oh my God. Oh my God. I don't know. But anyway, we're going to swing it for you right now. This is called Mack the Knife. 1, 2. Oh, the shark has pearly teeth, dear, and he shows them pearly white. Just a jackknife has no many bait, and he never leaves it right. Now when that shark bites with his teeth, dear, scarlet billows start to spread. But fancy gloves does old Maggie wear, so there's never, ever a trace of bread. Now on the sidewalk, Sunday morning, woo, woo, there lies a body just oozing life. Someone sneaking around the corner. Could that someone be old Mack the Knife? Then from a tugboat down by the river, don't you know, there's an old seaman bag who's drooping on down. Oh, the seamen's just for the weight, dear. By the get your tan, old Mack is back in town. Have you heard about Louis Miller? Well, he disappeared, babe, after drawing out all of his hard-earned cash. Now that he spends just like a sailor, did our boy Mack do something rash? Now there's a guitar great Jenny Dolly, there's old Dolly, yeah, sweet Lucy Brown. All the line forms on the right, babe. Now that Maggie back in town, taking Caroline, taking Caroline. Thank you. Mack the Knife. Yeah, you know, that Armstrong stuff is sure difficult to play, man. That guy had chops like iron, I swear. So just trying to imitate some of his licks is just so challenging. We got Mr. Richard Moten on the bass. Yeah. And, you know, so not only were trumpet players influenced by Mr. Armstrong, so were clarinet players, trombone players, pianists, drummers, everybody, including bass players. Richard's gonna do this song. It's a song made famous by Louis Armstrong. You might have heard of him. He's, what year he did this in Denmark? 31?
Denmark 33.
33, well, hey. It's always a dice roll with him, you know what I mean? Anyway, but in 1933, you go to YouTube and look at it. Louis Armstrong brought a small big band and they cut up on this song. This is a great song titled Dinah. We're going to feature Mr. Richard Moten on the bass. Richard Moten, everybody. Well, I got this mute in here. You know, we all grew up hearing these songs since we were babies. But every concert, you're in the moment. You're not sick of playing a song or, you know, like we played the song When the Saints Come Marching In since we were, yes, a long, 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 long time. And every time we play it, we're going to play it the best we played it. So that's the kind of respect that we have for this music. Now, this song is one of the greatest songs Armstrong ever recorded. It was written by the great Duke Ellington. And they did a record, 1961. Ooh, I got one.
Hey.
And it was called The Great Summit. Louis Armstrong with Duke Ellington recorded this song. And Duke Ellington had tried it with different other trumpet players, but when he met the king, the real king of the trumpet, Louis Armstrong, they recorded this song, and they said after they recorded it, Duke Ellington actually put his head on the piano and cried, as Louis had done such a masterful job of this song. And we don't expect anyone to cry, okay? We're gonna, even Ricky, yeah, Ricky, well, hey, you know, hey. But it was recorded in 1961, and, you know, Elvis Presley was hot and, you know, still before the Beatles, but Conway Twitty and these guys, you know, there were so many great artists that had great publicists. So this record got lost a little bit in the shuffle, but it's one of the greatest songs that you've never heard if you never heard it. This is a great song titled Azalea. A fine spring day down old New Orleans way, with fragrance divine, in such magnificent regalia, so fine, Azalea. Oh, what a lovely sight, in red and pink and white. I believe, I do believe, that nothing evil can assail ya. So fine, Azalea, you at ease under the moss-covered trees, whose tops touch the maker on high ceilings, in a church-like vault of a cypress swamp. I've yet to have that same strange feeling, so I've got to go back there and find that blossom fat that I've always dreamed of. 'Cause with you, who could be a failure? You're my first love, Azalea. Under the moss-covered trees, whose tops touch the maker on high ceilings, in a church-like vault of a cypress swamp. I've yet to have that same strange feeling, so I've got to go back there and find that blossom fair that I've always dreamed of. 'Cause with you, who could be a failure? You're my first love. My very, very first love. Azalea. Thank you. One of the great songs, Azalea. Yeah. You know, a lot of the music of New Orleans was developed in the Storyville district of New Orleans. If you don't know what Storyville is, it was a place where a lot of soldiers went.
My kids are here.
Oh, your kid, his kids are here. So it was where they told a lot of stories. Is that right? You guys ready? All right? And, you know, people played there like the great Jelly Roll Morton, my Uncle Willie Santiago, and Tony, what's his name? The piano.
Jackson.
Tony Jackson, yeah, Professor Tony Jackson. And, you know, I have a senior moment every now and then. That's what, you know.
That's why we have the Riccardi.
Yeah, that's why we have Wikipedia, yeah. But there was a house called Mahogany Hall, and Louis Armstrong wrote this song, and it was run by a lady named Lulu White. Now, how he knew Lulu White, I'm afraid to speculate. My lawyer is here in case you want to ask a few questions. But this is one of the great blues swing songs from Louis Armstrong called Mahogany Hall, Stomp. All right. Woo! Yeah, very nice, Ricky. Yeah. I didn't know we were featuring Ricky on that as well. That was great. And neither did I. That's so great, man. You know, we got a great drummer up here. Yes. I was saying earlier, I asked him for a drum lesson. He told me beat it. Yeah. I have a few good ones, but I left them home. But anyway, you know, Louis Armstrong encouraged and influenced the whole world. There was a trumpet player from New Orleans. His name was Louis also. But Louis Leo Prima was his name. And he wrote this song. Benny Goodman had a big hit on this song. We're going to feature the drummer, Joe Dyson, on this. This is called Sing, Sing, Sing. That's enough. Sing, sing, sing. Shout, come on. The great Joe Dyson, everybody. Woo! You know, he's living in Brooklyn now, and I tell you, New Orleans' loss is Brooklyn's gain. I'm telling you. Yes. Joe Dyson, everybody. I mean, just nothing else to say. Louis Armstrong was the master of melody. He did this song, and it was originally a French song. And then Louis Armstrong recorded it in English. Then all of us in the English-speaking world knew what this song was about. It's one of the great love songs of our time, and it's titled Vie En Rose. I'm just waiting for my pants to split. Just waiting for that. Give it a little turn around and see.
See, yeah.
Baby, baby. Yes. Now hold me close and hold me fast. The magic spell you cast. This is Vie En Rose. And when you kiss me, heaven sighs. And though I close my eyes, I see Vie En Rose. And when you press me to your heart, we're in a world apart, a world where roses bloom. And when you speak, angels sing from above, and everyday words seem to turn into love songs. So give your heart and soul to me, and darling, life will be Vie En Rose. Thank you. You know, I have a son out there. I told him I wouldn't call him up here, but it's so, huh?
Don't listen to him.
Don't listen to him. No. Matthew, would you please come up and play a song with us? Yes. Sunnyside, yeah. So this is Matthew Brunious, everybody. Yes. Yep. He's very tall for 15. Yes. He would have been 16, but it was sick a year. We skipped that year. No, that wasn't right. But maybe I'll let his mom introduce this song, because I think they're going to play this song together. Come on.
So nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm so excited. Okay. He had another request.
Okay.
Okay. I do Matthew's request. This next song is called Just to Close the Walk with Thee, and is one of my favorite tunes. And it was one of my grandparents' favorite tunes. And they were best buddies with Matthew. They were 80 years old, and they were on the floor playing with him. And I personally believe that my grandparents in heaven, who I was so close to, I think they can hear this now. And I also think that they sent our way to meet Ron and Diane, who accept being our manager and dear friend. But if you knew my grandfather, actually both my grandfathers, and you would mix them, it would be Ron. So I told him yesterday, I said, if you get to heaven before I do, you be sure to find my grandparents, and you will know exactly who they are, and you tell them thank you. This is Matthew, and Just to Close the Walk with Thee.
Matthew Brunious, everybody. We're supposed to be finished.
No.
But no concert is over in New Orleans ever. You know, y'all all been to New Orleans. But Rick, maybe you could tell the little story, Ricky.
I can tell the story.
'Cause, yeah.
Don't leave the date out.
I'll make it quick. I was born in 1980, so I never saw Louis Armstrong live. But when I was 15 years old, I saw Louis Armstrong in the Glenn Miller story, and that was enough to change my life. And then I heard the music of the Preservation Hall Jazz Band. And I said, oh my God, this music is alive, I need to see it. And so my grandparents, they were high rollers at Harris Casino in Atlantic City, and they got tickets on September 14th, 1995. My grandparents, my parents who were back there, and 15-year-old me went to see the Preservation Hall Jazz Band. And the trumpet player that night was Wendell Brunious. And so I just want to say this off the bat, I am not a piano player. I have not had a gig in New York in 6 years, something like that, I don't know. So to be here, if you would have told that 15-year-old kid that one day I'd be, sideman in Wendell Brunious. So again, thank you to my parents for making that journey in '95 and supporting me all the way. My wife and kids are here, if you notice, and my brother. Buy plenty of copies of my book, because look, they're all very sickly, and so we need all the royalties we can get, right? So it's a dream come true. But I've been here at the Armstrong House now 15 years. I used to park my car in this space when this was an empty lot. I was told in 2009 this building would be open in 2011. We were off by 12 years, but it's here now. And the staff, I don't know, I can't see anything now that I'm on this side of the stage, but if there's staff out there, Louis Armstrong House Museum staff, the most dedicated people on the planet. And thank you for coming out today. We've been hosting live music since the summer of 2023, and except for opening day, which Joe played outside, I don't think we've had a full New Orleans band. So we've rectified that, and I think they'll be back. This will be a regular occurrence. But thank you all. Thank you, Wendell.
Wasn't the date the 16th of September?
I know Louis Armstrong's dates. Mine, I'm a little shaky.
The reason I know is that we were up here, just Wendell and I and Matthew.
It was. You're right.
I hardly dare to correct you on a date. But we were up here in September, and I had never seen this beautiful place. And Ricky said, oh, why don't you come over and we have dinner, go out with my family on Sunday night, and then Monday I'll take you, Wendell and Matthew, over to the Louis Armstrong House. And we were here, and it was so cool, and Wendell was playing all Louis Armstrong's trumpets, and it was just what a day. And then the night before, Ricky realized what day it was, and he said, oh my goodness, it's the 16th of September. So that was on the year day that he heard Wendell the first time. He was here with Wendell trying all the Louis Armstrong trumpets. Yeah. That was so cool. Yeah.
Nothing makes any sense anymore. And so, thank you for being here. And hey, I'm up for another Grammy.
Wow.
Stuck it in.
Yeah.
That's good.
Not for playing the piano.
Yeah. Well, I have one, but it was with Eric Clapton, and I just was on a cut. He was on, yeah. And hey, but I didn't get the little trophy. I didn't get it. But the check was big enough. I bought her a Mercedes-Benz. So anyway, and thank you to people like Ricky, Riccardi, him in particular, to keep the memory, the spirit of Louis Armstrong alive. It's one of the greatest spirits that the Lord ever blessed us with. And speaking of that, Caroline asked me to do this song. It's more like a hymn than a song recorded by Louis Armstrong. And it's titled Lucky Old Son. Now up in the morning and out on the job, I work like the devil for my pay, while that lucky old son has got nothing to do but to roll around heaven all day. I fuss with my woman, but I toil for my kids. I work till I'm wrinkled and gray, while that lucky old son has got nothing to do but to roll around heaven all day. Now, dear Lord, up above, can't you see I'm pining? I've got tears, tears rolling in my eyes, and send down that cloud with the silver lining and take me to paradise, paradise. Yes, take me to that river and ferry me across. Wash all my sins away. I'll be just like that lucky old son who's got nothing to do but to roll around heaven all day. Freddie Lonzo, everybody. Now, dear Lord up above, can't you see I'm pining? I've got tears, tears rolling in my eyes, and send down that cloud with the silver lining. Take me to paradise, paradise. Yes, take me to that river and ferry me across. Wash all my sins away. I'll be just like that lucky old son who's got nothing to do but to roll around heaven all day. I'll be just like that lucky old son who's got nothing to do but to roll around heaven all day. Thank you. Thank you. There's no end to the effect of the spirit of Louis Armstrong, everybody. He's just the greatest creation God ever gave to us, man. And to do it in the times that he did it, it's just immeasurable what he was. And he never took himself too seriously. You know, when you hear all of his recordings, he always had some humor going on. He was playing the trumpet like no one ever did before, no one since has. And he always had time for joking, and you know, his spirit when he recorded with Ella Fitzgerald, and he was you know, when she was grabbing her throat because it was the song was going on a little bit, and he says, "Don't grab your throat now, don't grab mine either." You know, it was just always full of, I'm gonna call it, beautiful hell. And anyway, so it was such an honor to be here. Thank you, Ricky. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, everybody. Ron Russo for arranging this for us. Caroline, who did so much work to get us here, man. It's just unbelievable. She was sick on the leaving, you know, phoning everybody and go, I'll be there. Anyway, but we're going to do one more song. And it was First recorded by Louis Armstrong, 1938. What's the date though?
May 13th.
May 13th. You see, I mean, I don't have all the facts, but, you know. But it's called When the Saints Go Marching In. And in 1983, I did a version of this for the New Orleans Saints, our beloved sometimes football team. You know, I found out they're the strongest team in the league. They're on the bottom holding everybody else up. Yeah. But it's a great, anyway, a song titled, Who That Say They're Gonna Beat Them Saints? So if you ever see your team beating the hell out of the Saints, and we're in the stands saying, Who That Say They're Gonna Beat them? You got me to thank for that, but that's quite okay. This is When the Saints Go Marching In. Refuses to shine, when that sun refuses to shine, you know that I want to be in that number. Now when the saints, come on baby, go marching in. Thank you, everybody. Joe Dyson on the drums. Richard Moten on the bass. Riccardi. Caroline Brunious. Freddie Lonzo. Yours truly, Wendell Brunious. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. We hope to see you again soon. Thank you. And Matthew was up here for a minute. Hey, all right. Anyway, thank you so much.